And I'm used to this. I'm used to often being the only woman, but I am also proud to at least be that one, there. Especially because we do a lot of conversations in manufacturing setups. So in factory environments, all the pictures that we put up on social media have only me as a woman. But I will continue to hold that flag high. Hi everyone. My name is Nidhi Goyal. I am Executive Vice President at Tata Indian Institute of Skills. It's a new initiative of the Tata Group. We are setting up Indian Institute of Skills in Mumbai and Ahmedabad in collaboration with the central government. The one line, vision statement given to us was to set up the IIT, IIM of the skilling sector. So that's about as high stress as one could imagine. Prior to this, I've been in the corporate sector for a long time. I was with American Express. I was the director and country head for the charge card portfolio, which is very, very premium product. Used to handle new product development until about 7 years back. Personal and professional desire to actually do something more meaningful for the society got me out of Gurgaon and then to Ahmedabad, and I set up a higher education institution, and now of course with Tata IIS. So that's been a little bit of my journey. But coming to the topic that we're here for today, and I don't think, and I was telling someone over lunch that I'm not a qualified expert on this topic, but I think a lot of my learning, and for most of my career, a lot of my learnings have come through on the job, exposure and experience. And what you realize is that as we are growing up, both as in school or in the corporate world, the one element that seems to carry a lot of value and weightage from people around you is your ability to stay strong in the face of stress and anxiety and all kinds of backbreaking situations. So this need to appear highly resilient and what is defined as strong, in high stress situations is kind of very much ingrained from very early years. And now, many, many years later, you realize that often, while that is a virtue, some people are able to do it naturally, they're able to stay calm and appear calm. A lot of people, unfortunately, end up putting that front, the facade, to say, I will appear strong and I will not tell anybody about the stress or the anxiety that I'm going through. I think it's great that as we sit here today, this is something that we are all beginning to acknowledge. I'll still say we are beginning to acknowledge. I don't think it's completely out there in the society. But as is always my approach, instead of talking about why we need to talk about this, I'll just maybe focus. I run a skilling institute, right? So I like to focus on one or two things that we could do to make it easier, and then I'll pass it on to people I'm sure who have more ideas to share. Um, but I've been reading a fair bit about this also because when you run a vocational training or a skilling institute, a lot of people that come from economically less advantaged or socially less advantaged scenarios, right? And so they don't always have the liberty to accept and acknowledge and say that I need to take a break from whatever I'm doing right now because I'm just so stressed. Because if they do that, how do they get the next meal on the table? So a few things that we realized and we try to integrate into our daily schedules and lifestyles. Um, I'll focus on just two for today. One, definitely the acute need for physical activity, not just for your physical health, but for your mental health. I mean, research after research shows that when we indulge in physical activity, the body releases the happiness hormone. There are chemical changes that take place in the body that actually make you feel better. And I fundamentally, as I reflect on how the society is shaping up, and the youth is going through so much mental stress and experiencing mental disorders, you do realize that all the time on the screen, on the laptops, on the computers might be playing a role because the physical activity has really gone down. And for them to be able to then rebound when you have grown up in an environment where you're constantly sedentary, it's not easy. So if there is one change that we could all make in our own lives and in the lives of those around us, start with a 10-minute thing, but if we can go up to 30 minutes or 60 minutes, that would be great. But even as little as 10 minutes, even in this weather, if we can just do that, it's a huge, huge benefit for the brain and the heart and the entire body. The other thing that I'll focus on is the time to reflect on yourself. And I come from Ahmedabad, right? So we keep visiting various exhibitions on the life of Gandhiji. And I remember in one such, one of his um, colleagues, if I may use the word, but activists, more rightly maybe, Karsan Bhai, I think, asked him that every time there is a situation in the country, instead of, we are all revolutionaries, right? We are trying to gain independence, but every time something big happens, you sit down to meditate. So I mean, what are we trying to do here? हम कोई spiritual guru बन रहे हैं या हम आजादी की लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं? And then he said this that अगर हमें किसी और पे काबू करना है, तो ये गांधी जी के वर्ड्स थे, तो दरअसल पहले खुद पे और अपने मन पे तो काबू करना ही पड़ेगा। और इसका एक ही तरीका है कि हम मेडिटेशन और ध्यान करें। तो मैं वही कोशिश करता हूँ। And something that was said pre-independence still has so much value, because especially in an age where you're constantly bombarded, I mean, I know I'm a slave to my phone. There's constant urge to see what's the next message, what's the next email, ऐसा क्या हो गया जो पिछले 10 मिनट में मैंने नहीं अटेंड किया, तो hence what is it that I can do and rectify. But it is so important to take that time. You figure out your time to cut off for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, but just be with yourself and reflect on what you're trying to do. And one organization, and I don't remember the name, but I met someone from that organization. They said that every day it is a practice in our company that 105 to 110, nobody does anything. If you are in office, you will do anything. And that person, she said that initially it was very difficult for me when I had first joined, but over a period of time you realize that even those 5 minutes of forced break. So she was like 1 o'clock तक usually meeting होती है, हम 5 मिनट का grace period देते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप ऑफिस में हैं तो 1:05 से 1:10 तक आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, आपको मेडिटेट करना है। It is amazing. It's such a simple intervention, and if people here, as you are going to start up your own companies, there are people who are doing this. I think that's a brilliant way, to do things. So just wanted to share these two tactics that I hope might be of relevance.